And what we'll do is we're gonna map this out in really basic shapes first, so that we can then begin adding all the details to it. So the first thing we want to do is just establish the size of our birds. And so to get the size of the bird started, I'm going to go with an oval, and I'm going to cut off the bottom of its body. So this will be the annoyed looking one that's getting that little hug. And we'll add a head over top of it. But also just basic shapes. I'm just kind of sketching very lightly, and I'll make it darker so you're able to see over the screen better. But you'll want to sketch as lightly as possible so that you'll be able to erase those lines. So depending on your style of sketching, I tend to sketch many lines and then kind of decide which one represents what I need the best. And this oval up at the top, I'm going to erase. Well, that's wobbly whenever I do that, because we'll be able to see like its little chin underneath, but you'll want to erase that part. So this is just establishing that size. The other one is going to be right next to it, but it's going to be a little shorter, a little wider, because we're seeing it from the side and we're seeing its back a bit more. So I'm going to come down about halfway down its head and just make a mark there. And that's going to indicate how high that other bird is, like how tall it is next to this one. And then underneath its shoulder, I guess we could call it here, I'm going to make another guideline, just a little mark. And that way I'm able to see that that's where I want the head to be. And the oval underneath it is going to slant a bit. So that it's kind of angled toward this other owl. So the main thing is getting them to match up so that they don't have to be exactly the same size, especially because we are seeing one more from the front and one from the side, but matching up so that they're similar in shape and size, and that you have the overall outline the way you want it. And the other few things I'm going to pencil in is just kind of like where I think the wing should come across this body. And just a small curve for the other wing, which you'll see a little bit more of because of it being from the side. So this one is just kind of tucked. You don't see as much of it. So I'll stop there, see how everybody's doing. Go ahead and catch up. My other computer's beginning to start, so that's good news because we'll be able to switch over to a better screen. I'll go in and erase any guidelines that I'm seeing that I no longer need. And I can see a bunch of pencils still moving. So once you are good to go, just give me a thumbs up or show me what your outline looks like, and that will be helpful to know when to begin with details. Oh, that's looking good, Danny. So tell me, do you use any of your clay?
Oh yeah, so I was up there. We have a wood burner up there, and so my husband has a golf simulator, so he was up there playing, and then I did some. And I don't know. I know I have trouble centering, but I also think that it needs leveled up there because like an old one.
Oh,
You know what I mean? I think
maybe.
because he looked at it and he's like, I can see it wobbling, but I still had fun. I still did like three little things, and then just matched.
Yeah.
But it's fun, yeah.
Yeah. I know someone else was having issues with a wheel that they bought, and they bought it new, but they hadn't used it for a couple years. Like it just sat until they got everything set up, and
Yeah.
they couldn't figure out why they couldn't center, besides the fact that it just had been a long time since they practiced. But here the bat was warped. And so
yeah.
because of that warped bat, it really made a difference. Whenever they realized that that one was warped and they put a different one on, it was
Yeah.
like night and day.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun just like messing around trying to get the feel of it. So, but fun.
All right, how's everyone doing with this outline? Are we good to begin on some of the details? Okay. I saw a thumbs up. I see a couple more pencils still working. So as we begin the details, the main part is going to be really just capturing that personality and deciding what kind of expression you want on the faces of these owls. So when you are doing that, it's all about the eyes really. And like this one has a little squinted eye, it almost looks like it has eyebrows, and it's going to, in a way, wink at us. I'll share the screen one more time so you can see that expression. But we're going to concentrate on details in the face for a while before we really do any of the texture within the feathers. So whenever we begin, we'll split off the face a bit, where we're going to like create just a plus sign in the middle of the one, and the other one, and I'll show you in just a second here, I'm curving it just a little so that I can get an idea of where I want to place the eyes especially. So we'll go back to my screen and just give yourself light guidelines where the one from the side is going to curve. The one from the front we'll just leave straight here for now. And we're going to start with the eyebrows before we do anything else. So that guideline of like the halfway mark here is where our eyebrows are going to end up falling right above it. And for this owl, we're going to kind of use this curved line that's going across as a guideline for where the eye will fall as well. So in order to get these expressive eyebrows, I'm using the marks so that I can make things symmetrical, which is always the hardest part of any type of portrait, whether it's a person, an animal. You'll have to decide how it works out for you. I am right-handed, so I'm able to do the right side better. Just my dominant hand always draws this right side a little better, and then I'm always struggling a bit on the left. So as I do it, I create guidelines again. Like I just kind of move my pencil across and make a little mark of how high I want things, how big something is on one side versus the other. But basically I'm creating a smile right here, and then it's going up and over, up and over. And the one eye, I'm going to make a nice big circle that will come down about halfway through that mark. So it's not a full circle because the eyebrow cuts it off, but it's a nice big rounded circle that you can tell where if it weren't cut off, like that top corner would be cut. And because this line is through it, I will go ahead and erase that so that as I draw my eye, that's not interfering. And really the only thing we need right now is that center pupil. So just a smaller circle within there. And I am going to color it in a bit just because if you don't, it starts looking like it's staring at you and it just doesn't have the right feel to it. Having that dark center will be very helpful. But the other eye, this is where you decide what kind of expression you want. That other eye is almost like half closed, giving it that look where it's a little bit annoyed. So it's not a full rounded circle. Now you could make it like it's just staring out and it has a more regular expression. But what I'm going to do is come down and across and over right about where my guideline is. I'm not going to make it a full eye. And you see just a little portion of that pupil up underneath there. So right now, he looks very mad. I'm going to make his eyebrow thicker and just a little bit fuzzy above there. You can decide how thick you want it. And one of the other things that will really help make it look like it has the fluffy, fuzzy feathers that it does on its face is I'm going to just begin by making almost like a mask underneath its eyes. And we'll add some feathery texture there. But this will give us the guideline of where it would have that little mask. So the horizontal guideline where you had that plus sign, once you get those eyes in there, you can erase that so that they're not a distraction anymore. I'm going to keep the one that's vertical though, so I can stay symmetrical as I'm finishing up the rest of it. All right, my other one's coming in. Finally. Okay, I'm going to spotlight the other one where it'll be nice and big for you and log off of my phone. There we go. All right. Is that easier for everyone to see? I am so sorry. I just like had no control over that computer starting up, and it took a full hour. I came down at like 6 or 5:45. It's now 6:40 and it just finished. All right, so how's everybody doing with the eyes? Are we okay to move into the beak on this little guy?
Looks good.
Okay, so I'm gonna come in here right below how I have this mask kind of coming down. I'll go a little closer to his face. And the main thing is I want it to look like it's rounded. So it's going to have a line coming down the middle of its face, but then we want to curve the sides into the point. So it's not just like a regular rectangle or triangle. It's going to be a curve.
Oh boy.
And I'm drawing it pretty dark. You might want to draw it lighter because what we'll do is to make it look 3D is one side's going to have a bit of a shadow and the other side will stay brighter. So this line over here, we don't want it to be quite as dark. We want to be able to see it, but it's almost like we're just splitting it in half with the light. So underneath this beak, just a little bit on each side, if you create just a hint of a shadow that goes out into a point over here, that's also going to give it a little bit more of a three-dimensional look. So I had my original line and just that like teardrop, almost like an upside down teardrop. And then I'm coming across and creating a bit of a shadow on each side of it. And then just to begin creating some dimension on its face, you want to follow curves along its face where along the mask here, there's going to be just slight little lines or feathers that will flare out toward the edges of the face. Kind of come down and around. Try to keep my hand out of the way as much as possible. But these little eyebrows are actually lighter than the rest of its feathers. So as I'm working, I want to use that line that I had in the center to keep it like straight there. And then from there, if I'm making any type of textural mark, and I'm making them further apart than I really will eventually, I am kind of slanting them out, curving them out toward the sides of the head. So you want to follow the line in the center Anything that is toward the right, curve over toward the right. Anything that's on the left, curve over toward the left. So mine are spaced pretty far apart, but I'm going to come in and leave some little white spots. They have like speckles on its head, but I'm going to fill in some like darker textures too, so that it allows this eyebrow to look brighter and whiter. And this is where I'm talking about being able to draw on my right side, and just everything angled toward the right is always easier for me. I'm sure it's the same for anyone who's left-handed, you know, that opposite feeling. And one of the things that I'm going to do just to create the slightest bit more dimension is when I'm creating this texture in its feathers, I'm going to make them just ever so slightly darker toward the edge of its head, especially on this side, because the way I'm looking at it, it has more of like a sun-kissed look on the one side of its face. That's why we see this shadow on its beak. But on this side, it's shaded more, so we're seeing just a darker effect. It's not like it's totally colored in, but it's just a bit darker along the edge to give it that look that it's like a sphere. It's going around and getting shaded as it goes back away from you. And it's just a little darker than what is happening on this other side of its head, since the sun is shining over there. And then underneath, it's pretty bright and light under here, but it does have texture. So right now it looks very smooth because nothing is drawn there. So what I want to do is just extremely lightly, just add some little zigzag kind of feathery lines. But when I say lightly, I mean like barely putting anything, just enough so it looks like there's some ruffled effects, you know, like it's not smooth. So you can see the difference between how smooth it is over here and how there's just a little bit of a line. Let's see. Can you see better if I turn the light off of it or on? Danny, you were muted, but did you say off?
Off, yeah.
So if I turn that off, the pencil lines are a little more clear. So now we have like this personality happening, and it looks like this head is sitting on a cartoon body since there's nothing but an outline. Which the kids always point out like what things look like as we are working. When we draw a horse, we go from like a hot dog bun to wearing a party hat to a pool raft. And then someone said once with the back legs and no front legs, it looked like a kangaroo or a T-Rex. Like they turn it into all kinds of stuff. So this one definitely looks like it has just a cartoon body to me. So give me a quick look at your drawing, or just a thumbs up whenever you think like you're handling the head pretty well. Oh, Jess, that looks cute. Oh, these are adorable. Look at their expressions. Every single one has a different expression. I love it. Nice, Robin. Oh my gosh. They're so funny. Oh, good. Nice, Marcia. So we want this one over here to look like it's trying to show some love. Jess, yours looks like it's happy though. Yours doesn't look like it's angry. You wanted to have like, it was reciprocating and like good with the little kiss. So this one, the beak is going to look like it's coming up and bumping into the head. And then where, like from the beak area, then we'll come in and we'll make these eyes come over above here. So I'm making a curve. And because we're seeing it from the side, let me get rid of some of my sketched lines so you'll really be able to see where I'm drawing this. It'll bump into that one's face and it's going to come up and curve like a triangle, but it's a curved one. So stretch this corner out down below. And then I'm using this curved line just as a guideline for the eye and like these little masks that they have. So up above, we need to actually put this eye above the line. If your beak is following the line, the other eye, it's pretty rounded, will be right above that. And you don't see quite as much of a pronounced eyebrow. It definitely has one, but it's more just like a short little eyebrow that follows along the eye here. And when you add a pupil, that always helps make it look more realistic. And from the side, the little extra feathers that are happening around the eye are very like fuzzy, kind of sticking up off of its face here, coming down like around its beak. And just around the like fluff is created around its eye. And then it actually has like a little bit of fluff and fuzz coming down below its beak too. So the beak is going to look nice and light. So instead of having the super dark outline at the top, what I do is after I draw it in, I just erase it a little to make it look real light, like it's there, but it doesn't have that cartoonish outline anymore. And because they have this lighter area underneath, like down below it, I'm going to follow along, create this half circle that goes up and around. This whole area is that light spot where I'll put some texture, but not a lot, just kind of coming across really, really light lines. And everything underneath it is much darker. So right up against it, you may want to readjust. Like I had a really wide oval here, but I'm going to come up just a little bit underneath its beak better. Create some fuzziness right around there. And it's going to be dark following through that area. And its head is pretty rounded, so I know it's going to look a little silly just sitting on top of this body for now, but just creating some of that feathery texture. But the main thing that will help adjust it also is instead of it having an angle here where its head connects to the body, if I just curve it a little right into the back, just continue those feathers into that area. It'll make its head look like it's hooked to it a little better. I'm going to readjust its chest a bit too. Just decide if it needs lifted up a little. And near its beak, you know how owls' faces, like where their eyes and that little mask is, almost looks flat against their face, sort of. It's not like so rounded out. So what I'm going to do up here is instead of leaving this a big round oval, I'm going to cut off a little part of this. Where right here, you can't actually see its other eye, but if I cut that off, I curved it down just a little from the beak, and I'm going to create just a little bit of fuzz there for those feathers. That's going to make it have that dimension that it would have along its eyes, where it kind of sinks backward. And then the rest will all curve back and around its head. That texture like we put up on this one, you want to follow that same type of pencil line to create that texture. And it'll just curve back and around. How's everybody doing with everything? Is there any questions? Are you doing okay with the shape? This one's definitely a little more difficult with the shape.
Amy,
Yes.
how do you get the eye on that bird? Yeah, the pupil. I think mine's, I don't know. I think yours is more centered. Does it?
I kind of like yours though. It's like it's looking up at it. I don't think it looks off at all.
Okay.
That looks good. Yeah.
All right.
And I guess mine is a little off center, not a ton. If you look at my lines, I had sketched lines here. I need to just erase a little to make it look a little more crisp and clear. So I guess it's not quite as centered, I don't think, as what you thought it was, probably just because I had those sketchy lines there.
Okay.
But I like how yours is looking at it. Like this one's so dear, you know, like it's trying to be so cute and nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy, I have to go
Yes.
because I'm going to my parents, like, it's their 50th anniversary, and we're taking a cake over. But I just wanted to, like, try it out. And so I'll be back next week for both of the things for the paint. So I'm going to sign up because this is fun. So.
All right, here, let's show everybody. Look how cute.
I can't believe I actually drew, like, I'm the worst artist. I can't believe I actually drew this. So I'm just happy with my faces here.
No, I love it. And you know what? I always record the session, so if you want to like continue drawing, you would be able to come back and like fast forward to this point and then look, that's up to you. But
yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So happy anniversary to your parents.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
thanks. I'll see you next week. I'm gonna set up so I'll do the both things. So
awesome. Okay.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So, Kathy, are you able to hear me then? I wonder if her sound ended up working. Okay. How's everyone doing with the head? Jess, it looks like you're contemplating it. Don't forget, you're going to paint, so your paint will change how it looks because of the color too.
I don't even have a face. I don't know how to do it. It's just anytime I do it, it looks.
Did you erase your face off?
Yes, it looks so bad though. I don't know how to angle the beak or the eye or anything.
So let me take a look because I might be able to see like where your eraser lines are, and I can tell you where you could adjust things.
Like I think I put him a little close to the other one because I can't get his head to be super round.
Well, but they are really close. Like the other one's actually pushed up against it. So I think that you're okay. Your second head might actually be a little small. Just make it a little bit bigger. Just like circle, go right around your circle a little bit more. You know, go out like 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to share my screen one more time so that you'll be able to see the real thing too, because then you can see like how close it really is. We're going to draw a little bit of a like hint of that bottom part of the beak underneath there. That's hard to see. But do you see how those feathers are kind of like sticking out? Okay, yeah. I think you'll be fine, Jess.
Okay.
And do you see how like from the side, you're not seeing as much of that. Here, I'm going to draw right on it with a pen here. Like, do you see right here is its eyelash or eyebrow? We've got this, and that beak, there's that triangular shape, but how it has a curve. And then underneath it, what's really hard to see because there are feathers there, you may want to put a little bit of a line to show like the bottom section of the beak. And you know what I forgot to add to the other one? He's got little nostrils right there along the side of his beak. So we'll want to put some nostrils. But this is where like I was doing those fuzzy, fluffy feathers there, and there's some feathers that are fluffy down below that big like white spot. Does that help like outlining the real thing?
Yeah, that helps. I mean, I just don't know how to do the beak because it'll look like it's poking him in the eyeball.
So keep it about 1/4 of an inch away from the eyeball. Like make it look like it just kind of gets stuck into the feathers. Like don't make it real pointy where it touches the other eyeball. I'll point stuff out on my other one here. So let me set this back. So this part here, like you can kind of see another line underneath for that beak, but the feathers were like over top of it. So you may want to put a line there, you may not. But do you see how I kept a little bit of space between the point of my beak? Yeah, you're okay. It's not poking it in the eye. And then what I forgot about is I'm going to put 2 little darker holes or marks right above the side of the beak here. And the rest is really all about just creating this pattern or texture in the rest of its body. So that it's not just an outline anymore. It's not just white, but it has this patchy little like squares that are sort of random on it. It's not like a checkerboard. But what I'm going to do is come in here and just create these like uneven blocks. Make some smaller, some larger. And then if I add any of this shading in between it, it's going to create that feathery effect. So by beginning to add some light and bright areas, it's going to create more of that dimension, more texture. And the places that it's brightest are like up underneath its chin area. And then as I come down across its belly, it has more white as well. It also is bright along the edge of its wings. So I'm actually going to make a second line here and keep this spot right inside that line brighter than everything else. Now, Jess, for you, since you're going to be painting with me, I would not spend a lot of time creating this texture down below yet. We'll do that with the paint. So I would just concentrate on getting the face to look how you want the face to look, because this part will get covered up anyway.
For the painting, are we doing acrylics or the watercolor?
Acrylic.
Okay.
So just by adding in the texture throughout just this little bit here, it's already beginning to take shape. It's no longer looking like a cartoon. And then to make it even more dimensional, the same idea happens here when we did the head and we made it a bit darker along the one side. We want this edge to be a little darker. So I just come in and I create a bit more of the dimension by giving it a little bit more of a shadow throughout this side and letting it be a little brighter over on the other side. This wing is a little shaded because the body of the other one covers it up. But this texture just takes a little bit of time, but once you get going, it's pretty much doing the same thing over and over. And that's why, like, the paint would cover this so we wouldn't have to do it with pencil. With the pencil, it takes a little longer because you're creating a lot of lines to create the texture and dimension. Right at the head, I'm also going back in and creating a little bit more fuzz. I don't want it quite so perfectly circular. I want it to have a little bit of that uneven effect. So the main thing is just coming back in, deciding where it needs those shadows, smoothing it between the head and the body. They don't really have like a separate neck, so it all kind of blends together. And sometimes I just come in and reshape little curves, minor little adjustments. Same with this over here, just kind of making sure that the head follows through into the body, so it's not like a separate neck like a human. And continuously putting that texture within it. Now, I'm assuming because one's probably a female and one's a male and their coloring and their markings are a little different. The one on the left doesn't have quite as much white and as much of a blotchy or spotted effect. So this area is pretty light brown, just kind of all over. So I'm able to go a little more quickly with my pencil and just really lightly create that all over a texture and like even it out a bit more. And then where its wings are, that's where it has the white, but not as much. So in between, it is a little darker. And I'll just keep following through as I come down the body. How's it going for everyone? Okay. Jess, you threw your arms up in the air. That doesn't look like you're feeling okay about it.
I got his head.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
He just has like a bird's beak.
So maybe don't make it quite as wide. Just cut off the sides a little bit so it looks like it's coming downward a little bit more. You see how it's like fairly narrow? All right, the other thing that I wanted to discuss with all of you, since you have become more regular and if you're hopefully planning on continuing, even if it's not every week, is I want to like be more prepared and make schedules out in advance. So I wanted to get opinions about what it is that you enjoy drawing the most. What kind of things, like I still want to stick with the theme of like switching it up where it's landscape, still life, portraiture, and then one that you vote on. But what are some things that you feel like you could use improvement on or just would like to learn in general? And I can make sure that that's part of the schedule. Anyone have an opinion on it?
I'm up for anything. I think it's exciting just to see what comes out of this. Like when you look at the pictures, you think, oh my goodness, there's no way.
Right.
Like I'm up for anything. This is great.
I agree.
Well, I don't want to just be like, okay, well, this is what you're drawing. I always give all of my kids' classes an option to like suggest things, and it depends on the class and the group of kids. Like there's one painting class where they almost always want to do landscape. and then another one where it's almost always animals. But one of the girls finally spoke up and said, are we going to do anything different besides animals? Because that's not really my thing. And so we kind of figured out like what she liked too. And we, you know, I want to intersperse it. And that's why instead of just it being more of a free for all like it is with the kids, because they suggest like totally off the wall things sometimes because that's just what they love. You know, kids are quirky about stuff. But others like are afraid to speak up. So, you know, I don't want them to be drawing things that they don't necessarily like. And that's why I wanted to just discuss that with all of you. Like for portraiture, do you feel like, and we did eyes the one time, and it doesn't always have to be a full face, or, you know, like it can be something more specific. Like I can teach you how to draw hands, or, you know, we go through all of the facial features, the eyes, the nose, the lips, you know, and just really concentrate on the specifics to get them really good before we go into a full portrait. Still life can be anything, you know, really. It's kind of neat to make it a themed thing and then go with it, where, you know, if you have a hobby, you know, or say you like gardening, we could do gardening
Botanicals.
tools.
I
Yeah,
think the
okay.
botanicals would be cool.
Mhm.
Well, even like in the springtime, you know, I like to think of plants when it starts getting nicer.
Yeah. My favorite thing ever is when you see those first daffodils and those pops of color on the yucky, muddy ground.
Or the crocuses, or
Mhm.
but that's spring's my favorite season. Other people like fall, but I like spring.
Yeah.
Everything's renewed.
I love seeing just everything starting to sprout and looking that so fresh and like bright.
Yes, and the light green of the grass before all the chlorophyll's in it or whatever. The
Mhm.
leaves are real light, and I like that.
I know, I agree. When it
Trees,
starts feeling warm.
yeah, yeah, I like.
And then I already know a couple opinions about places for the landscapes.
Where?
Well, you had said Zion National Park. Robin said
Oh,
Italy.
yeah.
Jess,
Oh,
do you
did
have
you
a
guys-
place, like a dream vacation that you would love to go on?
We'll take a road trip, huh?
Yeah.
Um, um,
I mean, there's just so many places in the world I would like to see again, or just see at all, not again necessarily. Like I've not really been past the Eastern time zone, really. I did get to go to Italy, but I've only been up and down the coast, not out west. So I really want to see just different landscape than what we have here.
Right, right.
um,
It's not, I mean, I've been to Vegas and Colorado and, you know, in California years ago, but yeah, just a different terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate. I have a girlfriend, she's from Alaska, and I got to visit her twice. So
Oh, wow.
that was really nice. But she moved to Utah, but that's okay because Zion's in Utah. So
I know. Yeah. I always love whenever there's a destination to go to because you know someone.
yeah.
My brother lives in New York City, so
Oh,
that's
my.
nice that like I'm not a city person. 4 days or so is enough for me, but it's like having a personal tour guide. You know, it's not
Yeah.
overwhelming because he knows how to run the subway system and like knows how to do things and get places.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Plus the city's so alive. I mean,
Well, I don't know
loud
now if it is,
Well,
but when I've been there in the past. He actually spent 6 weeks here over the summer because he said there's nothing good left in the city. You know,
Uh-huh.
at least not then. I don't know if it's starting to be a little better, but he hasn't really mentioned anything lately.
Huh. But he lives in the city.
He's in Brooklyn, yeah.
Nice to visit him, but I don't know about living there.
No.
Too hectic. And you said you live in the country too. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's just not my scene at all. It's cool to see, but for a short period of time.
I think I have one now.
Okay.
Ireland or England to see like the big
Big Ben and
the very authentic looking places,
yeah,
big Victorian
like
stuff and stuff.
just the sheer fact that their architecture is so different than ours.
Yeah.
so old.
Yes.
Or even Africa, because
Ooh.
I'm part African apparently, so I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yep. Just dreams of travel right now, right? We're
Yeah.
all dreaming of it.
Yes. We have our vacation on hold from last year that was canceled, so I mean, we're rescheduled for May, but who knows what's.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to go on vacation for my birthday, but I doubt that's ever gonna happen.
We did go, we drove to North Carolina in August because my aunt has a house on Bald Head Island. So
Oh,
we
wow.
were, you know, my brother and I, brother, sister-in-law, and my nephew, and me and the kids. My husband didn't end up going, but he doesn't care about the beach, so that was fine. But he, since we had already spent time together throughout the summer, we went and really like didn't encounter people. You know, it's a laid back island that it's not like it was busy. There's no boardwalk or any of that kind of stuff. So that was
trying to
nice
think of
getting
where
away.
Bald Head is.
It's
What's
off
it
of
called?
Southport. It's way at the bottom of North
Okay.
Carolina.
Okay, my sister-in-law lived in Wilmington, and I used to go down and see her.
Yeah, it's I think maybe 40-45 minutes from there.
Well, Southport, I went there with her one time. So
It's
Is that the
cute,
one
isn't
you-
it?
yeah, is Bald Head where you have to take the ferry over?
Yes.
That's
Yeah, I
what
love
We
it.
were supposed to go there. Yes. And now she moved to Raleigh, but
Well, Raleigh's still not that far. You should take a trip
No.
out.
he did say we could still go over to Bald Head. I guess that's Bald Head. I didn't remember it was that.
Yeah. You leave your car and you drive golf carts and
Yeah.
or ride bikes and walk. Yeah. Like you
So you're-
really feel like you're on vacation, you know?
Oh, yeah, your aunt lives there?
Well, they have a house, but it's not right on the beach. They have a house
Mhm.
like in the middle of the island. So they're not there full time. They're retired now. So they'll, you know, they go over.
Nice.
But they got it about 20 years ago before like things cost $1 million.
Literally millions, you know.
Yes, exactly. She did say one of the things they regret the most is that they didn't buy one of the lots like right next to their property because they could sell it and have paid everything off now.
I'm sure.
But yeah, it's very relaxing and you know, low key, not the commercial, like because I'm a country type of person, I think that that's the type of vacation I like the most.
Yes. Really. Not Myrtle or, you know, like
Right.
real busy and commercial. Although
We
Myrtle's
actually,
not.
we actually got to go to Surfside Beach in South Carolina, North Carolina. Was it South Carolina or North Carolina? South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay, I've heard of it. I wasn't sure where it was.
Yeah, it was for my niece's wedding.
Oh, well,
Obviously,
that's
because
nice.
yeah, it got canceled back here,
Mhm.
and she wouldn't give up. She wanted it done, so it ended up being destination. And it really wasn't, there were people there, but really not that many. And it was in July
Mhm.
during this COVID, but it wasn't too bad.
That's
One
nice.
of the things that I wanted to make sure I showed you here is like every so often on the belly of the owl, I'm going through and I'm making a little bit of a curved line and just making sure that some of my texture is sort of following that curve. And that helps make it look like the belly's sticking out a little bit more. So like my texture will cover up the actual line, but I'm making it so that it's not perfectly straight across, but it kind of curves outward a little bit. All right, so Jess, what I want to do is look at yours and see like where you're at with it. And the other thing is, what kind of surface are you painting on? Are you going to paint directly on your paper? Do you have a canvas board?
I did buy canvases today, but I'm not sure. My mom told me to paint the picture I made and give it to my dad for Valentine's Day. But I don't know if I want to do that because they don't look that great.
Well, you don't have the paint on it yet.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, Liz. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe on the paper.
So how thick is your paper? Is it like a thin or thick paper? Does it feel like computer paper? Does it feel thicker than computer paper?
I'm not sure because I got the one sketch pad, the drawing one, the green one.
Okay, so it's like decently thick.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you could choose if you want to like start off by painting on paper and then like progress into your canvases later.
I might end up doing the canvas because I don't like painting on paper.
Okay. So the other question I have for you is like, how much texture have you added? Because remember, if you're adding paint, you don't really need a whole lot of this texture on your drawing. So let's take a look at what you've done. Okay. Yeah, like you may want to just kind of take a break and, you know, like you have really good outlines for what you're doing and go ahead and set up your paint stuff. So cup of water, paper towel, bring your paints over, you know, if you have a placemat or something you want to put on your table to protect it.
I got this giant.
That's good. Yeah. You have lots of colors to pick from.
I might make them very colorful owls.
There you go. Yeah, they don't have to be brown.
Make them. I'm kidding.
Some of the last little things I'm doing is going back in my face and just looking at the textures I have and like creating, instead of such an even outline around my eyebrows, just putting some little uneven lines to make it look like it's more feathery or fluffy. Same on this one, just kind of adding a little bit more texture into their faces. a little unevenness just around the head. Like they have fairly smooth feathers, but I don't want it to look like super sleek. You know, I want it to just have the tiniest little bit of a texture around the head. I might have went up a little too high there. Marsha, what was it that we were trying to figure out on your Zoom last week? Did you get it worked out today?
Well, I mean, I can't see the other ones, but
Oh, that's right.
unless somebody, I guess if somebody's talking, maybe it brings their screen up or,
Yeah, at first, like when I don't have my hand one spotlighted, when like whoever's speaking gets bigger.
I mean, I can move the screen, but I don't know how many are on tonight. I think I saw 3 or,
Okay, so yeah, well, 2 of them left. So there was a couple of new people. So Danny left and then Eric left, but there's someone named Kathy that's here, and it says Karen, but it's Jess, and then Robin and you, and
okay,
then my 2 screens.
okay. Well, you're getting ready soon to do the painting part then, so I'll jump off, but yeah, I'm just trying to, I'm gonna be working on the feathers, the
Yeah,
spotted
the
part.
the feathers take a long time.
Yeah.
So,
I'll
but they're
get
no
it.
longer cartoon birds.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I'll just post it tomorrow, I guess, if I get it done and,
Oh yeah, this is not one of those things where like I expect you to have it done in the hour that we sit together, or you know, if you're not finished with something, it's not like you have to post. It's just nice to show people what you're doing.
I
But
like to do it.
anytime, it doesn't have to be tomorrow. Just if you work on it midweek, you know, that's fine.
I tend to do this Friday nights now and then Saturdays do, work on, I don't know that I'll add any color to this one, but
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know what color. What color is their eyes? Are they yellow?
Yeah, here, let's, I'll screen share real quick again so that we can see. They're pretty bright. Let me make it bigger. And the tip of their beak is actually pretty bright yellow as well.
Yeah.
So that,
Kind of green.
yeah, there's like yellow around the very center part and near the top. And then it's almost like a really light lime green that outlines it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That little one, now that we really look at the eye, its pupil's pretty large.
It is.
It's real large, and it has a little bit more of a shadow. So like if I were to go in here, I could make it just a little wider. And then right in the center, like that'll give it a little more dimension, like how it's sunk in a bit. But yeah, I'm surprised by how bright the tip of its beak is. Like if I took a colored pencil to it now, I would just make a little bit of that yellow happen at the bottom. Those will be my pops of color, since some of you have been adding little pops of color.
Maybe that's what I'll do.
Yeah, just enough.
All right. I think I got my work cut out for me.
I think so too, but I think these have been adorable. Let's take a look before you go.
I'm not done, but
Oh yeah, the feathers take so long though. Look how cute. Yours does not look quite as mad or annoyed, just like a little bit like, what are you doing?
right.
That's really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Do I have too many of the little white dots on the chest or?
No, there's a lot of white dots.
Alright.
On the one, like on the left,
Mhm.
that
It's
one
just on the
has,
wing.
yeah, it has a ton, and the other one is more just like on the wing, and then there's the brown,
Okay,
which,
yeah.
in the email, there's the picture of what they actually look like, if you want to refer
okay.
back to that as well.
Good.
There, or it's online in the group too.
Okay, cool. Alright.
Yeah.
Well, let me-
Robin, how's yours? Let's take a look.
All right. My little one just looks kind of,
Ooh,
Oh, it's cute.
wow, yeah,
It's
that, I like
so-
the way.
his head's kind of
You know what it
lopsided, I've
is?
noticed.
I think it's how it almost looks like it comes in toward a neck. I
Yeah.
would just like curve it down from the head into the body a little more. So there's not that angle,
You mean up
but
by
it's
the
more of a
beak?
curve. Here,
Like
I'll show
right
you.
here?
No, down below, like where the body touches the head.
Okay.
Here, I'll show you on mine where I mean. That looks awesome though.
I like
love
the
it.
eye, yeah.
Yeah, I
Thank
do too. Right in here. Like, do you see how mine had originally went inward? And then I started
Oh.
bringing like feathers kind of down.
Yes.
I think if you just like curve that a little bit more in that area, and it doesn't have
Kind
to
of
be
like makes a space.
it's like it's stretching up,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I got it. It goes in. I get it.
Like when we originally drew an oval and a circle, it
Mhm.
had those little angles there, but then I came in and like rounded it down into its back and kind of rounded into its chest.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's Marsha's dog coming to say hi. Oh, he's gonna be camera shy.
He's crazy. Come here, my boy. Come here, my boy. Come on.
Oh, there we go.
Come on, my boy. Come up here.
Say hi.
Oh,
Nope,
get on a good table.
he doesn't
Oh,
want to
there.
cooperate, huh?
Look, Dookie, look. Oh,
Yeah, you know what? Animals never cooperate when you really want them to.
He just came in from being out back there, so I think he wants some reward.
Yeah.
I won't say the word because
Oh, because then he'll know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, he's
They
spoken.
just know.
They know. Okay, well, I guess I'll jump off and work on this a little. But I like the
Amy.
way the head came out.
Amy,
let's
is that
see.
any better?
Yes. Here, we'll make you the bigger one for a second. Do you see how it looks like it's stretching up now?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that right below his beak, I could probably round that out more.
Maybe just a little, yeah. Like it sticks out pretty far.
Yeah.
But you know what? I would do the same thing like you did it on the other one that's facing forward too. You like made it connect really well on the right side. So I would just come in and kind of connect and not have so much of an angle on the left side there as well, where it just
Okay.
kind of curves down together.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good.
it
Thank you.
does.
Alrighty, well, I'll see you online and I'll see you
All
next
right.
week.
Yeah, thank you for joining tonight.
Hey.
It looks so cute.
Thank you. Thank you for the instruction.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
appreciate
bye,
it.
Robin.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Yeah, same to everybody else.
yeah.